Daniel Howat from Next Best Picture. Ryan and Brian, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I appreciate your time. How are you doing today?
So good, man.
Good. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, the film has been receiving so much support since it premiered at TIFF. The movie's not even out yet. You guys are receiving Gotham nominations. Ryan, you got an Independent Spirit Award nomination.
Yep.
Ryan, I want to start with you. So many of these nominations have singled you out as, breakout performer, rising star. What's it been like to receive all of this support?
It's been very nice. I'm someone who, this is kind of my first rodeo in this way, stepping into, a feature film in this way. So I didn't really know what to expect, and it just feels really great to have it be received in a great way and have people love the work, and that I just appreciate, and I'm just really grateful for it.
Absolutely. And Brian, what's it like going along for this ride as well and supporting Ryan and seeing this moment for her as well?
Tiring. She wears me out because the accolades just keep coming, right? Like, it's all pouring in so quickly and so fast, which it should. She did something quite incredible to step into not just the shoes but the gloves of Clarissa Shields, this amazing two-time gold medalist, undefeated, undisputed champion, and for this to be her first way into feature world, she left a mark on quite a few of us because she was hitting us, take after take. But other than, but no, she's I couldn't be more proud. It's really cool to watch her take all of this in, to receive the love from her peers, to receive love from the critics and just the general public altogether. And I was just along for the ride. So, it's tiring when you keep getting, accolade after accolade after accolade, but they're seeing what, I've seen, what I got the luxury to see every day on set. So it's really cool to see her hard work paying off.
And we saw hard work from both of you because the work is incredible.
Thank you.
But yeah, Brian, like you were saying, Ryan, you had a huge shoes to fill, huge gloves to fill. Is that a saying? I don't know. But what was it like to train, to step into the ring with the same prowess as a gold medal winning boxer?
It was pretty scary, I was definitely not someone with, as much confidence as she has, going into something like this. So I definitely just had a lot of pressure on myself, and I just knew I had to get it right. So the training was pretty intense. I had to train 3-4 months pre-pandemic, and then again after the pandemic when we started up the second time. And I look back at it now with appreciation because I think I really did benefit just from having extra time to, just like polish everything and just be better and fall into it even more. I think that second go around I had a different appreciation for the opportunity in itself. I was always grateful, but that second time I just pushed myself even harder. So it was great. It was challenging, and to see my body go from what it was day one to going into filming was just shocking to me because I had never done anything like it before. So, having to diet and gain the weight and gain the muscle was something that was not fun during it, but after and seeing it, and also having the stamina to be able to, be on set for hours and do take after take with those brutal fighting scenes was something that was necessary, and I was just proud of myself for getting there.
Which she did all of them, by the way. Like, just to be very clear, she was in the ring doing these stunts, take after take, hit after hit. That was Ryan doing it. I was on the side of the ring watching and clapping and laughing because, I was like, I'm so glad that's not me. So it should be known that she was truly in there, doing each take of these fights, like take after take.
Yeah,
truly.
It was fun. I definitely had a good time doing it. And stunt training and stunt choreo was just different training in itself, separate from the boxing training. So it was cool just to learn, about the different things that I need to know just moving forward and whatever things I do in the future. So yeah, it was fun and definitely rewarding seeing the final product.
Yeah, you can totally tell how much it pays off having you really in the ring there and really performing these fights. I'm always curious about getting into the sort of the process of an actor at playing a boxer. Of course, like you mentioned, you have to do the training to have the gains and all those things. But I'm curious about, as an actor, how the boxing training helped you understand the way to perform as a boxer, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. What did you learn from your trainer to help you really capture the intensity, not just the choreography, but what it looks like and feels like to hit and take those punches?
Yeah, well, my boxing coach definitely took the approach of treating me like his actual fighter instead of treating me like an actor. So, and I think that really paid off. And, having to be that close to him as well for all of those months definitely put me in that mindset, And we both tried to use as much footage that we had of Clarissa and her fighting and the different fights that she had from 16, 17 all the way up to the current time that we were in. And we just tried to find the little nuances, the little details that, she would do, because she doesn't fight like a regular boxer. She has a very specific style, and it's a bit more street, and she breaks the rules a little bit. So we definitely, put our heads together trying to make sure that not only did I have the fundamentals, but I could build on top of that and making sure it was very particular to her. So, all of those things I think just really make a difference. And I did get hit a few times, which also helps, definitely builds character.
Changes you a bit.
So, just going through all of the training, it was just so many layers to it and so many different moving parts that I think just added to everything that I needed to be able to execute with the actual cameras everywhere and and starting the actual fighting. And I got into it, after the first fighting scene that we did. It was kind of just like getting the jitters off a little bit, and then as you keep going and keep doing more, you're in it now. And then I felt like I was actually embodying her and where her head was at, and that confidence that she has, and that ferociousness and the determination. So yeah, it was so many different things, and I loved the process. It was a great process.
That's so good. Well, Brian, I know you were joking about just hanging out on the sidelines, but I am curious about your process for preparing to play a coach as well. I know you're not throwing hands in the movie, but did you dive into any boxing training yourself to help inform your role as a coach?
Yeah, I did. Before I came to shoot, I was filming in Atlanta at the time, and I went to a gym there to really see what it was like to even climb the ropes. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that you have to think about. I was like, you got to get in and out of this ring seamlessly. You have to be able to be there ringside for, your athlete. What's it like to get their spit guard in a bucket? What's it like to give them the pep talk? What's it like to put pads on and warm them up before the fight? So I really wanted to make sure that I had all that together, especially with Jason, because he's so hands-on. He's there for Clarissa. Like, he believed that she was the best boxer of all time. Like, every day he instilled that in her. And so, I once I got on set, though, it was incredible, because here you are trying to make perfect shots out of a very imperfect sport, right? And there's a lot of technical things that go into boxing, a lot of technical things. Like, I completely forgot about footwork, right? And Clarissa is fast, okay? Like, Clarissa's fast. So you're watching Ryan, take after her footwork had to be ba 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 ba. So, when you're ringside, I found myself watching her feet, and Jason had, was ringside shouting a lot, of encouraging things, or telling her to adjust her technique. And I had to know what I was saying. I was like, what am I? I'm like, I don't understand what these blocks are. But it's incredible when you're recreating a fight, because the energy immediately surges through you, even though you know it's make believe. It's still a real fight. And so when you add the elements of like the audience, me banging on the canvas, me jumping in, me hitting her against the head sometimes, to be like, get your head in the game. You can't help but feel activated, and hopefully that translates to the audience, because when you're capturing boxing, on film, you're trying to recreate that live, energetic experience. You want to feel like you're getting the hits. You want to feel like, and we really explored that as much as we could. Rachel did something incredible. The way that her cinematography of these fights is, you feel that you can literally feel the sweat, the pain, the hits. You can hear the footwork that Ryan's doing. And also, I just forgot, coaches are your biggest hype man. You know what I mean? Like, they know that you can get in there. Like, that's Jason's biggest thing. There's nobody, they ain't never seen nothing like you. They ain't never seen anything like you. So I also felt as Brian, I was trying to make sure I poured that into Ryan, too, because, she is in there with real boxers, like real boxers. And, if she makes one wrong, pivot on her foot, she's on the ground. And so, like, I also knew that I wanted to make sure that I was encouraging her as much as I could, because she was getting gross. Like, she had to get gross for this, okay? Like, sweating, spit, blood, she had to do it. So, my biggest task that I had to do was make sure that I was there to support that. Boxers, the boxer athlete coach connection is so tight, it's so tight. And they really believe in each other in such a deep way. So I just wanted to make sure that I executed that and make it as real as possible.
Yeah, and it did feel real, especially, of course, you're playing these real people. And I know when you're portraying real people, there's often, different, do you want to meet the person beforehand or not? And, how will that benefit or not benefit your performance? I understand you didn't actually meet either Clarissa or Jason until at the premiere. Yeah. I'd love to know what was that a conscious choice, or was that just timing? What was
both.
It like to kind of, yeah?
Yeah, I think it was both.
Yeah,
I think
we both had different, journeys with each person in a way. I know for me and Clarissa would try to meet up, but things would just get in the way. Obviously, one of those big things was the pandemic itself. Mm-hmm. So timing would just mess it up a lot. But we did have a lot of conversations during filming, before filming. But I think we met when we needed to.
Yeah,
and it was very, very beautiful and very great, especially because she had seen the film the day before. So the fact that she loved it just made the meeting even more magical and happy, and we just embraced each other and loved on each other. So it was really, really cool for me. But having the conversations that we had prior to filming and during was something that was really helpful, So I was just thankful that she was open to that.
Yeah, and also there's some elements of their lives in this movie that reflect some of their lowest lows, right? Like there are some moments where you see that Jason and Clarissa have division, and they have a lot of antagonistic conversations that happen, how he thinks she should. So I didn't want to talk to Jason knowing that there may not have been resolved yet. I didn't want to have one side and then another side. I wanted to go in completely fresh and live in the experience of what was going on as it unfolded, So, and Clarissa, what I love about her is that she was show all the highs, but also show all the lows too. Don't hide that element. The connection between them was not perfect. And so I wanted to make sure that I went in fresh. Because if I went in just talking to Jason, I'd only know his side. And I didn't connect with Clarissa. So I wanted to go in with my mind, not being on either side of the fence of oh, well, I'm on Team Clarissa and I'm Team Jason. I wanted to just live the experience, showcase what it is, and hopefully bring them together, which I think we did. I think this movie actually shined a light on their differences and their similarities. And when we saw them at TIFF, it was like no time had passed. They were talking with each other, joking. I think they were showing each other clips of different fights and different. It was really, really cool. So that to me was what the journey was about, to see them come back together, to see them still have their rapport. So for me, I knew that I didn't want to get one side of the story or the other. I just wanted to make sure we played the truth and the life of what was going on.
Did either of you utilize the documentary T-Rex?
Oh, yeah.
To help
Oh, did
inform your
we?
For certain, there are some
dang.
shots in the movie that are directly taken from the documentary, and so which is also a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, if we don't do it right, if we there's literally evidence that we didn't do.
Yeah.
But that was a really great, just another additive to the mix of what made the movie elevated and great, because we had this resource, and so she and I could really look and see exactly like the proximity of closeness, like the timbre of voice, like the movements. We wanted to make sure that we were absolutely mirroring what was captured in real life.
Yeah, especially since, that documentary was the actual time frame that we are actually acting out. Yeah. So I think it was just so beneficial to have it. I mean, it was downloaded on my computer, so I literally referenced it whenever I needed, to get back in that headspace that she was in. But playing her at 16, 17, is a very different time than the age that she is now. So to be able to reference that specific time, it's one thing to talk to them now, but they're completely different people than they were back then, Yeah. So I guess to have both was just really helpful in general, but the documentary was really special.
And kudos to the filmmakers of that documentary. They were at TIFF, and I don't know if you got a chance to meet them afterwards, but they were absolutely blown away, and we just want to make sure we give our thanks to them for taking the journey with Jason and Clarissa. Like, we're really grateful for that documentary existing.
Well, Brian, you referenced this earlier. Jason is such an incredible presence in Clarissa's life, and just cheering her on and seeing what she might not see at all times.
Yeah.
And helping shape her into the fighter and person that she was.
Yeah.
I'm curious for the two of you. Who are those incredible coaches, influences, people you've had in your life? Brian, I'd love to start with you. Who's the Jason in your life who helped make Academy Award nominee Brian Tyree Henry?
There's so many, truly. I think about, growing up, the first part of my life in Washington, D.C. in the early 90s, this black kid, living in Northeast, Southeast D.C., going to the Boys and Girls Club after school, the people who came into my life and just saw the potential in me. I started a chess club when I was like in the 5th grade because I was like, I don't see a lot of black boys playing chess. And I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club, and I cannot remember this man's name. It was kind of like he was like a shadow that moved in and a shadow that moved out, but he sat down with us and taught us chess every day. And I think about my mentors from high school. Miss McNair was a teacher of mine, my show choir teacher. She was a music teacher. I was in show choir. Shut up. I was in show, show choir. I saw the side eye.
No,
Our show choir was bomb, okay? But she was like one of the biggest nurturers I ever had in my life. Like, she believed in me. She taught me how to audition. You had to audition to be in our show choir, and I was a mess. And she still accepted me, I think about my mentors from college, Mr. Thomason, and going to Yale. Ron Van Loo is a huge mentor of mine. Even right now, like, one of my mentors that I've just adopted is Ryan's mom. Like, I love Ryan's mom, and like just the encouragement that you see with her and her daughter, and then she took me in and encouraged me. So like you meet mentors every day, people who believe in you bigger than you can believe in yourself, or hold the possibility of who you are when you can't see it, and you need to listen to them. Like, I know for me, I would not be doing any of this if it wasn't for all these people I mentioned being like, you should look into this. There's actually potential for you to do this. Go as far as you possibly can. Fall on your face, scrape your knees, don't embarrass us, but go do it. And we need to hear that, especially, in our community.
Yeah.
It's so important. And I know that Ryan's going to say I'm her mentor, so before we get to her, I just want to, you never know when you become those people. So when you are, challenged with, being someone's mentor, step in the shoes, like truly be there, like truly listen to that call and guide them, because you're doing it. You're a testimony just by waking up and living and doing it. So thank you to every single one of them. You know, checks are in the mail. But I love them to this day. It's truly like I hear them as if they were talking to me yesterday. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, literally same for me. A lot of my choir teachers, my theater teachers, I was someone who was okay with sort of fading to the background. I didn't love having to put myself out there and audition for lead roles, and I was fine with being in the ensemble, and you know, it was fun for me. I'm just like, let me just be back here. But they would get mad at me. They would get mad at me, and I don't even know how many times I would get like called out into the hall because they just needed to just like speak to me in a very stern way and just know my potential, you know. So there were just so many, like Brian said, there were a lot of I think mentors coming from a lot of our teachers that we would have, as well as my parents, you know, always believing in me and being there for me at a very, very young age. Not everyone has that. And then, of course, the people that I get to work with along this crazy journey in industry. Yes, Brian is one of them. He's definitely one of those people that have to talk to me and, you know, just be very direct with me in a lot of different ways, because I'm always, you know, leaning on people for advice, but normally just people that I really want advice from. I don't just like go to anybody, but it has to be, you know, a natural feeling and relationship there. So yes, he's one of those people, but thank God for our teachers and our coaches out there, because they're very, very necessary.
Truly.
Absolutely. So well said. Well, Brian and Ryan, thank you so much for chatting. I really appreciate it and can't wait to see what more people think of the film this Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.